We're on earth because of sex.
Yeah.
God created sex. But who talks about sex?
Nobody. You're not allowed to.
Now talk about sex. Don't talk about sex in church. We need sexual breakthrough. We need sexual healing. And we need to realize the power of passion comes from our sexual birth.
I got love for the game. Bring it back to the golden age when the fresh beats knocked down. Whatever happened to real hip hop? Love for the game.
Tell me the story behind Raw.
Raw. So honestly, man, that's a good business story as well. When I first, so I don't know how much I don't think you know much about my story and where I came from, because we recently started to kind of interact with each other.
Yeah.
But I dropped out of dental school. That's why I moved to Arizona. And I think I told you I was in dental school when I first moved. So I dropped out about a year and a half into dental school, $150,000 of student loan debt. And it was because I learned about what online marketing was, and I saw bigger potential for me. And also it felt like by the time I got to dental school, it felt like I was kind of settling. It felt like everybody there had the feeling of like, we've arrived, we've done it. And it didn't settle well with me because I've just always been like working towards something, you know? So I think the online marketing, as far as becoming a dating coach, was a challenge for me that I emotionally on a like a spiritual level felt called to do, you know?
Really, I believe in that.
Yeah.
I always say you don't choose it, it chooses you. But anyways, I can tell, you know, by first of all, thanks for coming to my birthday party, dude. Your story is real. And you're a real person. And, you know, first of all, the way my son speaks of you, and, you know, I've been following you on Instagram, and then I've heard other people talk about you. Everything that I've ever heard about you is good. But then when I met you in person, I remember us all sitting around and you were authentically listening to people. And no wonder you have an amazing podcast, because this is natural for you. So like, of all that you do, right? What are you most passionate about? I'm curious.
Man, that's hard to say. I feel like I've so ironically, there's a lot of time that's passed between the dental school, dropping out, becoming a dating coach, and the original question, the Raw, came from, originally I was branding myself as the charisma expert for men. Okay. And it just wasn't resonating. It wasn't a good offer. It wasn't.
Why not? I'm curious.
People don't go to bed at night thinking, God, I need more charisma. You know, they think I need to get the girl. How do I get the girl?
That's such a simple result. Yeah. You're right. It's like guys don't want to, you know, all they want is like, how do I get their dream girl? So then have you found that like even good looking guys struggle with that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. At my last boot camp, I was just telling you about it. There was a guy who's literally on the documentary, male model, 6-pack, everything, just didn't have the confidence, the ability to speak with women and approach them. And we had a very powerful moment where he literally couldn't kind of just speak above like a whisper when we were doing a hypothetical scenario of him approaching a girl. And I made him stop in the middle of his banter session and made him literally scream at the top of his lungs, I am Aaron fucking Ford. Put some bass under it, and he got into it, man. He transformed and it took him a few times to get there, but dude, it was magical. That's why the documentary is so powerful. You see it happen in real fucking time, no cuts and stuff. You know?
I can't wait to watch it, man. I'm no wonder Caleb's pushing you to do a funnel for that.
Oh yeah.
You going to?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's already created. And so the funnels, all the copy, all the emails, they're all written to be congruent to the boot camp. Okay. Right now I have another coaching program that I'm enrolling guys into rather than the boot camp, because who knows when we'll be able to do another one.
Yeah.
But so right now the funnel's done, the email is done. I just got to change a little bit of the copy to be more congruent to the offer that we're doing.
How many guys are you going to let in?
To this new program?
Yeah.
As many guys as I can get signed up and still coach them, you know?
Okay, yeah. So just is it a thing where it's like a group coaching situation where you could take in thousands?
I could. Yeah, hypothetically. We're doing Zoom calls every 2 weeks. And those right now are really good because the group's not at 1,000 people yet. We're probably at 150, but we'll get there. My goal is to get 2,000, and then we'll see what happens there. But between the material they get, the membership area, the Zoom calls, all that, they're covered. Yeah, it's great.
You know what I think one of the biggest missing pieces in men today?
What?
Is a lack of deep connection and time spent with other like-minded alpha masculine men in groups, doing manly things, instead of just going and sitting at a bar with a cocktail, hoping to get a girl or whatever, know. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that per se, but it's all about your energy and your attitude about those moments. You know what I'm saying? But as we're talking about men and your boot camp and what you do, first of all, and wait, Bridger's selling for you now?
Oh, yeah, he's closing for me.
I love that guy, man. He's a winner. Bridger, if you're watching, I'm a believer in you. He's a good young man.
Great
and Chris is a good dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris. Ladies, I'm sorry these guys are not single. Chris, you're not single, right?
No.
Nah.
Sorry, ladies.
Sorry, ladies. Next time.
Anyways, I'm looking forward to this, man. We're going to have fun.
Yeah. Have you ever, what's that phrase? You ever been caught in a pickle? Because you just reminded me of something, bro.
What was it?
So this is a funny story, and I can say it out loud even though my girlfriend's in the other room, because I told her about it right when it happened because I was shocked. I had a man, and I haven't told this on my podcast, but the listeners of the podcast know the man, Faraz. He's been on 2 episodes. With his podcast, I'm doing it a little bit differently because I don't want to pigeonhole into being the guest-based podcast or the podcast about entrepreneurship. I'm anywhere and everywhere. If I want friends and family and just keeping it my circle tight, I'll do it. If I want to bring on new guests, people that interest me, authors, scientists, I'll fucking do it.
I love it,
right?
Dude. I love that.
So Faraz is a anti-aging expert, and he's been on a couple times. And I've partied with this guy in LA. He used to have a condo in Beverly Hills. Anyways, he just moved to Scottsdale. He was staying at the Optima a little bit. And after our last podcast, which was a couple weeks ago, he's like, yeah, a couple of my friends are in town. We should link up and grab some dinner or something. I said, okay, cool. So I go over there on, I think it's literally like a Thursday or a Friday night. And we're going to grab some dinner. And I'm like just expecting Faraz, friends, cool. My girlfriend's staying here, right? And very quickly I realized that Faraz roped me into a double date with 2 girls who were very DTF.
Oh my goodness.
It was very awkward.
This is why you have a girlfriend.
And this was a couple weeks ago, and I had no idea what I was walking into. I want to know how you
navigated through that, bro. Let's talk through this. Walk
God.
me through the real. Take me as if it was a movie set.
Yeah.
But real quick though, this dude sounds cool.
Oh, cool dude.
He lives in Scottsdale?
Oh, yeah.
Connect me with him.
I will,
Group text me. I want to meet him.
Yeah.
Because I like hanging out with people with that kind of energy. Anyways, tell me the story. How'd you navigate through this?
So I show up, and he's like, yeah, these are a couple girls that I knew from LA. I was like, okay. And I just figured he literally said friends, So I was like, okay, these are friends that are girls. I show up and he meets me at my car because I've never been to his new apartment or whatever. And as we're walking up to his place, he goes, yeah, so just so you know, like some of these girls, I wouldn't say they're the best looking, but they're cool. And I just made a joke. I was just joking. I was like, either way, if they got a pulse, we'll fuck them, right? I was completely joking.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and instantly these girls are sitting down. They were playing drinking games before I got there, and the eye contact, you can tell. The eye contact,
eyes tell all. Yeah, absolutely.
They were trying to go on a double date, and it felt really weird because I didn't flirt back. I felt like this is weird. I feel like I am more awkward than most people in social situations, especially when it involves talking to women who I know might be interested in me, because I'm in a relationship, but I'm also a dating coach, and I also have been the single guy for many years. So it's like, I'm afraid to give anybody mixed signals because that is not my intention.
Yes. And that's hard. You know why?
Why?
It's so hard because, and it's hard for me because as you're sharing this, I relate because when I'm in a relationship, dude, I don't even like other girls' pictures. Like when I'm in. Like I'm all in. Yeah. But not only that, like I'm with you. Like as far as you saying you're a dating coach, like I'm Caleb Maddix's dad. I have a parent brand. I lead a missions movement. I used to be a pastor. So I've lived in this fishbowl, right? But yeah, dude, I'm a natural charmer. Like my eyes are natural. Like my communication with ladies is natural. And I know yours is that it's a natural thing to where if you just are in your alpha and you're just in your confidence and you're just in your flow of life, right?
Yeah.
People are going to think you're being flirty.
Yeah.
So I know when I get in situations, I'm like, I don't know how to act. I'm like, so I'm just like, now I become awkward because I'm trying not to like give off any vibes, right? You feel that?
Exactly.
Do you relate?
Yeah, like I break eye contact. I'll like look down.
Exactly.
Like,
I'll look weird and I'll pretend like I'm listening, and then I'll be like, I hope nobody's taking a picture of this, or you feel that?
Oh yeah. And so as soon as I get in, we sit down, they hand me a drink, we start playing drinking games, and the girls start grilling me with questions as if they're trying to get to know me. And I'm like, yo, this is not going good. And so I'm like, I'm literally going over there, not to party, not to drink. We're going to dinner, And so we find a place that we're going to go originally. We go there, and it's a sushi joint, Raw Sushi. Shout out Old Town Scottsdale. And we sit down
I love that place.
At a table, and Faraz this is the next move where he leaves me hanging, bro. He sits on the opposite side of the table as me. So now the girl that he doesn't want has to sit next to me. And it literally looks like we're on a double date. And I got my girlfriend texting me like, hey, where are you at? Are you coming home soon?
Oh, my. How did you handle this?
I was caught in a pickle.
So, baby, it was a pickle, but how'd you handle it? Meaning, like, walk us through it, or you can't.
No, I don't
want to get in trouble.
I basically tried to be as boring as possible, which was ironic because it made the girls ask me more questions, and it made me the fucking life of the party, if you will, because now I'm the one telling all the stories because I'm the one getting all the questions directed at me. But I'm trying to give them 1-word answers, 2-word answers. I just want my sushi. They get their sushi and everybody's sharing. I get my sushi and nobody has any of it, because I'm fucking hungry.
Sharing is emotional, you know what I mean? You're like, no, this is not a double date. Don't touch my sushi.
Exactly. And
plus, I don't like sharing anyways, because I was like, Caleb will be like, no, I don't want fries. I'm like, no, you're getting fries because you're not touching my fries.
Yeah.
You're not touching them. I'll order you 10 orders of fries. But if you don't want fries, don't think you're going to grab a few of mine a few minutes later. You feel that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't mind giving. But don't say you don't want any, and then when I get it, you eat half of mine.
Oh, yeah.
And I still don't mind if it's Caleb.
We're men. We got to eat.
I wish people would realize that simple reality. We have to eat. We're men.
Yeah.
It's a testosterone thing. It's like we're men. We're growing. We lift, we work out, we have to eat.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so you got out of that okay?
So
how did the lady handle it?
I was the one who drove, and Kate's texting me like, oh, it takes you 4 hours to grab dinner or whatever. And I literally drop these people off. They want me to come back up and continue the party, and I just drop them off. I say, yeah, I'm going to go home. I literally have a family at home. I have 2 dogs and a girlfriend that lives with me,
Yeah.
And Faraz was here, I love Faraz. Faraz, we're going to party again. But, bro, don't do me like that.
Faraz, listen, you got to make sure there's at least, a few more people there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so all is okay then? You guys?
Yeah, my girlfriend, I told her what happened. I was very upfront about it. I wanted no gray areas here. I was not trying. That was not my intention. And she understood.
The simplicity of that, right?
Yeah.
The simplicity of just being totally upfront.
Yes.
And honest, and then safe, though. I don't think most people feel safe, or they're just...
maybe it's fear of rejection.
Fear that they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, they may not have an emotionally healthy partner that can handle that.
Or they want to hook up with other girls, which was not me, you know? Even so, Faraz admitted himself, hey, the girl that I'm going to try to set you up with, subconsciously telling me this on the way to his apartment. Yeah, these aren't the hottest. Yeah, if anything, he got the hot girl and the other one was the friend, right? It's called the Grenade from the Jersey Shore. And so that was her. And I'm like, nah, first off, as one wise man said, I ain't trying to make any lateral moves or backward moves. Second off, I'm just not the type of guy who's going to be making moves like that in that nature anyways. So,
well, I'd love for you. Do your podcast listeners have a place to comment?
Yeah, on YouTube.
I'd love to hear your feedback on how you feel like Coach Patrick did. I mean, love to hear on my Facebook. What do you think? Like, how'd he do if you were scoring him? What could he have done? Should he have done? And Faraz, don't do that to guys that are in a relationship, man. That ain't cool, right?
Maybe they do it different in LA.
Yeah, probably. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe he didn't, but no, I do believe when you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship.
Yeah. 100%. And it's not just
If you don't want to be in a
it's
relationship, break up. That's second.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to values, right? Do I want to be that type of guy who's going back on my word, things like that? Because I truly believe in one, like little hinges swing big doors. You do this little habit here, it's going to manifest everywhere, you know?
I love that. Little hinges swing big doors. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the question you asked me before we got on? It was like, what's the biggest thing that helped you get your girl or something?
Yeah, I was curious about that. What was like the number one secret do you find in the love of your life, man?
Yeah.
Is she the one? Or is it too soon to tell?
I don't want to get into the details, but I think it's pretty serious right now, you know? So
Yeah.
we're about to go to the next step for sure. Yeah. Which is, you know, how we've been living together for how many years? What's the next step? Right?
So you're in love. She's the. You'd love to spend the rest of your life with her.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, right now.
Right now,
exactly.
in
how
this
I feel.
moment,
In
this is
moment,
what you feel.
Exactly.
And really, this is all that matters. Is that so? Project nothing else into the future other than I'm so happy, and we're here to create and play and have fun.
Yeah.
And you know, stay in that. There's no reason
100%.
to create any what ifs.
Yeah.
Too many couples do that. They don't play in the now and enjoy their relationship of the now. But anyways, how did you know she was the one, man?
Well, I think that's a
There had to be
loaded
three
question.
things.
Yeah.
There's three things. Okay. Obviously, you had plenty of dates.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever reveal how many girls you've had sex with?
No.
Is that something you don't want to talk about?
Yeah, not really.
I get it.
Yeah.
I just thought we could talk about anything. No, I'm just messing with it.
For my girlfriend's
but
sake.
I know I get that. But my point is like you could have anybody.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I've been
You
dating
know
her-
that. You believe that. You have the
Yeah.
confidence. So what was magical about her?
You know, I have a few things I look for early on, and then as I'm going
Yeah,
through.
what are
right?
they? I'm curious.
Well, one of my standards early on, and this is what I always teach guys, is, you know, if a girl's at least, if for example, if you ask her out twice and she says no or doesn't get back to you, but she never gives an alternative time or follows up with you, move on.
Yeah.
That was one of my many standards, right? I also believe at the time when I was single and I was dating around, this kind of plays into what I talk about on my dating advice stuff is, you know, I always teach guys date from abundance, you know, rather than from scarcity. Most guys, they settle for the first girl that shows them interest. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a friend of a friend, but they, one, don't have the ability to meet new women approaching.
Yeah.
And two, when they find one, they put all their eggs in one basket right away, right? Early on, you want to be the man. You got sexual urges. You see attractive women. You're single. Play the field, right? Figure out what you like, what you don't like. As a guy who was a 21-year-old virgin and struggled in dating and then overcame it through massive action, I didn't know what I wanted when I was 21. I thought I did, but I didn't know until I experienced what I don't want, right? And so with Kate, one of my many standards is I don't like when a girl's clearly into me and she's horny for me. She wants to have sex with me, but she's playing games. She's like, oh, we can't. And then she doesn't ever, like within the first 2 to 3 dates, right? For me, I like a relationship to start out physical, you know, because I feel like if we have physical chemistry, why are we going to cut that off? Now, obviously, there's nuances to doing that the right way, but with Kate, literally, I met her at a nightclub in Scottsdale and went home with her 5 minutes after meeting her.
Wow. So was that kind of a technique you had to try to get them
We
home
were just
quick?
both in a very good state.
Okay.
Yeah, and I happened to live right
5
there.
minutes you were home.
Well,
Was it?
we walk out-
Was it an immediate making out, or was
yeah.
it? Okay. So it was a lot of passion.
Yeah, but you know, from her perspective, hearing the story from her side, she had kind of locked in on me from the moment she walked in. I had a table and I was dancing on top of the table apparently, and she saw me with her friends. But that's another story. So it started out. We obviously had the physical chemistry. I gotten to talk to her we didn't even start dating until like 6 months later, you know, until I moved to Phoenix from Scottsdale into this apartment. And we started hanging out when I moved here, hanging out, going on dates, you know, continuing the physical chemistry, but then exploring, do we have actual chemistry together? Can we work together as a team?
Yeah.
And to answer your question, I guess that's one, you know, you asked for 3. The second one is, I would say I've been dating her for almost 3 years at this point, 2.5 years. If I get that number wrong, she's going to be pissed, but we've gone through the ringer. You know, we've had our fights, we've had our battles, but I like how on both sides we're willing to work with each other and work things out, you know, and I don't think that's common, you know, with a lot of people. And we've also kind of had a practice run of like, I didn't realize, but when you get a dog, it's basically like getting a child. If you never had a child, right?
Man, especially nowadays.
Yeah. And so we have 2 dogs now. So we've been through a lot, and the fact that we're still together and we still have as much love for each other and chemistry with each other physically and emotionally. I can't see myself with anyone else at this point.
What a blessing. That's got to be peaceful to have.
Yeah. One thing I do want to get your opinion on, though,
let's hear it.
Is I've always kind of had the belief, and this is just like how I started thinking in my 20s when I started improving my dating life. I'm a very different person than I was when I was a 21-year-old virgin.
Sure, yeah.
Right? But Kate, for example, wants to get married, have kids, blah, yada, yada, right? She was the one who wanted the boyfriend, girlfriend labels, right? I've never been a fan of labels.
Sure.
And I personally don't feel like marriage is today what it probably was signified to be in the Bible, right?
Sure.
And so for me, I'm like, we can get married, we can not get married, but at the end of the day, what are we going to be doing that's different than what we're doing now? Like, what's different other than we have a marriage license that legally binds us into a capitalistic society that was created by man?
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. What are your opinions on marriage? And coming from the perspective of, you know, like you said the other night, the alpha gentleman.
Yeah,
you know?
the alpha gentleman. First of all, good question. I love this. For those that are watching on my social media, this is my boy Patrick James, Raw Dating Advice, and then Raw and Real. So, you know, first of all, I'm curious. I don't know if we talked about it at my birthday party. Those are 6 shoes, by the way.
Thank you.
You believe in the Bible?
Yeah, I grew up a Christian.
Okay.
This is also interesting. And
all right.
You were a previous pastor, right?
Yes, yes.
Perfect to tell you about this as well.
Yeah.
So I grew up Christian. I went to a Christian school. It was a Lutheran elementary school.
Okay.
So we had to go to church every Wednesday. We had religion class every day. My parents made me go to church with them every Sunday up until I moved to Arizona. And I grew up non-denominational, basically, because there's Lutheran, Presbyterian, and then non-denominational churches, right? But I think it's interesting because when I moved to Arizona, I stopped going to church. And most of my friends who don't live with their parents don't go to church. And the common theme I'm seeing between me, my girlfriend, my friends back from Kansas, is we all had such a negative emotion associated with going to church because it was always, it's Sunday, get out of bed, get up, we gotta go to church, you know, and if we act up in church, I get pulled out and I'm spanked, right? And so for me, I've always felt like it was forced upon me, and I've always been very religious, but then when I moved to Arizona, I just kind of like lost focus on it, I guess you could say.
That's normal.
Right?
How old are you now?
30.
Okay, so when would you say the last time you've been to church is? No judgment from me, because I haven't
Christmas
been to church. But I love Christmas Eve services.
Yeah.
Dude, Christmas Eve services are a must. I go to midnight mass most Christmas Eves.
Yeah.
I say most. It's a tradition. So good to hear. No, that's perfectly normal what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, I read something, 85% of Christian kids leave Christianity before the age of 18. And they did a survey, and they said the number one reason was because our Christianity wasn't adventurous enough. That's why I started Maddix Missions. You see, Caleb, he's been on 54 missions trips. Caleb grew up in a spiritual world, right? I taught him the ways of Jesus, the Proverbs, the Bible. But I also took him to yoga, to Buddhist meditation, to to experience, right? But his roots of God and spirituality were, praying to God every day. It's a fun relationship to know that you have God 24/7, God, who can give you instant wisdom, clarity, whatever, right? And not only that, there's an energy to that. There's an energy and a fire to, the Holy Spirit. I've experienced it all, my man Patrick. And look, I'm not religious, and that's why I'm starting Maddix Missions, because it's kind of the new opportunity for people that have been burned out of religion and kind of bored with church and don't really believe in the, it's more of like, hey, it's a mission. We're here to serve the poor. We're here to help fatherless kids. We're here to help the 1.5 million homeless teenagers. We're here to, we're here to honor our veterans. We're here to feed the poor. You know how many poor people are in Phoenix? I can take you 5 minutes from here. There's thousands of homeless people. And so that's why, I took Caleb every Friday morning of his life under the bridge to take Starbucks coffee to the homeless. Every Friday. The alarm would go off at 5 a.m. and I'd be dragging him out of bed when he was little, when it was dark. And if it'd get cold out, we'd take sleeping bags to take him to the homeless. That was our faith. That was our God. That was our because that's where you find God. You want to find God? Man, go down to the homeless and look in the eyes of some of those beautiful ladies. Those are ladies, man. Those are elderly ladies. Those are veterans down there. Those are, when I was down there on Father's Day, I had Caleb down there and a bunch of his friends. You weren't there yet. I don't think we had met yet. And it was a beautiful moment because we were feeding all these homeless people and, I always give a motivational talk to them. And, this is why I can't be a preacher traditionally again, because I bring ice cold beers to the veterans. Do you know what it's like, Patrick? Okay, you want to see heaven. These veterans, they hear different sounds than we do. They've seen things we'll never see. They really are forgotten in America. They're suffering. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. A lot of it is because they're in a world that nobody can understand. A lot of horrors in their mind, from war. And, that's why I'm so passionate to every Sunday, I'll hide, maybe 6 to 12 ice cold beers, and I'll grab some of these elderly veteran homeless guys that I know they're veterans. And I'll hand them 3 or 4 beers. Man, the smile on their face. But they love God, but it's like, Jesus turned water into wine. I'm not an advocate for alcohol. I wish people would drink less. I'm more of an advocate for, plant-based lifestyle. You know what I mean? And so my answer to marriage is I've been married twice. So I loved both times that I was. And there's nothing in the world that's more, besides being a dad, is being a husband. There is something spiritual about the identity of husband versus boyfriend. There's a new depth. There's a new connection when you take on, when she takes on your name. You see, marriage, I know it's been watered down because of dating. So thank you for what you're doing, because the real reason we have such a broken identity in marriage today is because our dating is screwed up. That's why I'm doing the Alpha Gentleman movement. Okay. So I want my son to get married to one person, I don't want my son out having just casual sex. I've taught him to channel his sexual energy, and because it's not just sex, there's so much that you can get connected to with somebody. So you want to just not give that, you know what I mean? So I taught Caleb, look, find a lady that you can marry, because, there's something sacred and special about her having your last name and you guys being a team. Yeah. You go from like boyfriend, girlfriend to like husband and wife. It's like we're building legacy. We're committed now. Unfortunately, I had 2 failed marriages, so I'm not here to... I could give great marriage advice because principles work, Yeah. Unfortunately, some of us just have some bad situations happen, and that's life too. Yeah. Your thoughts on everything I shared, starting with God and then back to, what I just shared about marriage.
100%. I like this conversation because I feel like, one of my biggest battles with just Christianity, I'd say in the last year or so, is, before it wasn't like I was, separating myself from Christianity. I was just focused on other things here, and I wasn't making it a priority to go to church, right?
Sure.
But I joined a business mastermind, and after about $10,000 into it, the coach and his team basically decides, hey, we can no longer help you anymore. What's going on? Why is this? Well, we just don't agree with what you're doing with your business. What are you talking about? We feel like you promote premarital sex too much, and it goes against our Christian beliefs. I get on the phone with the coach. I don't want to say his name because you would know him, and a lot of people probably would.
Afterwards, I'd love to know. I'm curious.
And I get on the phone with him. I'm just kind of like talking like, whoa, what's going on here? And they basically were like, yeah, I feel like you definitely promote premarital sex too much. And, we don't, that goes against all of our Christian beliefs. I said, I'm a Christian. How's that supposed to make me feel? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm getting real. You want to get real? Let's get real.
Let's get real because I relate to this.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt with him. I was like, if you want to go there, let's take it there. You know?
Yeah.
And I also know for a fact he's had premarital sex, but and I also know that his team members, his closer who got me into the mastermind was using my dating advice to have premarital sex and still is, right? So
dude, I love it. Man.
So
thanks for keeping it real about it. Now I see why my son loves you, but I love you too, but keep going. Yeah. So
this guy, he literally quotes Bible verses at me for 5 minutes straight on the phone, off the top of his head, everything he could think of that basically is evidence on why premarital sex is bad, you know? And he did it from the frame of, you're bad, we can't work with you type of thing. But he wanted me to change it. He wanted me to change the branding and keep paying him. You know what I'm saying? So you want me to completely flip my whole business. Anyways, so I thought it was like, are you serious? I put my phone on mute and set it down. I was like, he's still quoting Bible verses at me, you know?
What did it make you feel? Raw feel. What did it make you feel? Like
pissed.
Hurt? Feel like you weren't respected? Or?
So that experience with how that all kind of panned out has made me kind of question the way some Christian groups are run these days, and it has given me the feeling, knowing what I know now about marketing and stuff and like in-group out-group bias, it makes me feel like it's become more of a cult rather than a way of life. You know what I'm saying?
And I'll agree with that because think about it. There's 3.2 billion Christians in the world.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church has what, $10 billion in art and money? 400,000 churches in America. You're going to leave the world looking like this? I mean, listen, what about all the churches in Phoenix? These homeless people have nothing, man. Yeah. You know, the inner cities are these homeless teen shelters. Listen, dude, I took my son in and out of homeless teen shelters. You know, I've been in over 100 homeless teen shelters. Right now, what I'm doing in Maddix Missions is we are going to, one by one, we are going to paint and decorate every homeless teen shelter in America. Like, why hasn't Christianity already done this? Our homeless teen shelters have crap food. They have gray, dingy looking walls. Many of them have no air conditioning. And I can take, these are not teenagers that are in these shelters, Patrick, because they robbed a bank, they raped somebody, they're jerks. No, these are innocent teens that have been in and out of foster homes that, I've met them that have cuts all the way down their wrists. And I ask them, why do you do that? Because I talk raw with them. When I get up and talk to them, that's how Caleb Maddix grew up speaking in homeless teen shelters. That's why he's so powerful now. And because that's not easy to speak in those environments. But there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of brokenness. They have no family. Their dad's in prison. Their mom's dead. They have no grandmas. They've been in and out of foster care. Many of them have been raped and abused. It's depressing in there. I've gone in there, Patrick, where there were 200 homeless teens. And all I kept thinking as I looked in their eyes is, what if that was Caleb? And that's why I'm so on a mission. And I'm disappointed with religion. That's why I'm kind of rebellious too, because, I was a pastor. I was a world leader in Christianity. I had millions, that follow my principles in church growth and soul winning. And I was well known. I had a movement. And I left it because I was an honest dad that I couldn't take my son into a world that was going to take him away from God, even though I believe in God. I prayed today. I prayed, I spend a couple hours a day with God, but I'm on his mission, and I keep it real too. I've had sex outside of marriage, and, I had a glass of wine last night. Yeah. I got high, you know what I'm saying? So, pastors can't talk like this, but a lot of them do it. A lot of them just are fake. A lot of them are just, a lot of churches have millions and they're doing nothing for widows, fatherless kids. I mean, my son's probably bought well over 200 bikes for fatherless kids growing up. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about, how many kids, I would say hundreds, that have LeBrons and Nike Jordans, because Caleb and I would see fatherless kids with horrible looking shoes. You talk about changing a man, fatherlessness is the curse of America. And a lot of these boys don't have a male role model. They don't have somebody to teach them. And that's why there's so many problems. So what I'm trying to do is help heal our fatherless kids, and also try to help end fatherlessness by helping heal our teens and our broken, I'm disappointed in religion. I'm disappointed in the NBA. I'm disappointed in all the sports. I'm disappointed in Hollywood. And I'm disappointed in Disney World. How, with all these resources, do you leave 1.5 million homeless teenagers and you leave veterans sleeping on the streets, and you talk about Black Lives Matter? Dude, I can show you millions of beautiful black people that they have no food. They're sleeping on the streets, and white people. But I'm telling you, our world is in some illusion right now, So yeah, I'm kind of, I miss church. I miss the church I was in. I was in the Pentecostal church. There's not a better, in my opinion, there's not a better, that's what I was telling you earlier. And I miss it too, Yeah. But I also am scared of it. I'm almost kind of like, you're praying for me to be saved. I told some of my family the other day, I said, you're praying for me to be saved. I'm praying for you to be saved, meaning, I'm actually praying for some of my family and friends to be saved from religion, because religion killed Jesus, and here you are, you're changing young men's lives that probably didn't have a father.
Young and old.
Yeah, and old. You're right, and old, because they either didn't have a father. How, like Caleb Maddix, okay, the last thing he struggles with is talking to girls.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he has you for a father.
Yeah, he lived with a master for 18, 17 years. Anyway, enough about that. What are your thoughts on all that I just shared?
Oh, man. Well, I totally agree with the homeless problem. And, I'll be honest, I was kind of naive to it especially when I lived in Scottsdale. But when I moved to this apartment specifically, it was like I was depressed for 2 weeks, because I go from Scottsdale, where you don't see it, at least not out in the open.
Not as much here. Yeah.
But I come here and it's everywhere, and it kind of made me feel, scared. For my, just the power of environment. It made me feel like I don't want to end up there. And at the time, my business was still young, so that was a real fear for me. Obviously, I would have been able to just hit on my mom and be like, hey, can I come home? But I didn't want to do that. And I think the fact that I burnt the boats allowed me to not do that.
Wow, yeah, that's powerful thought.
Yeah, but I totally agree. It is a problem. And one thing blew my mind when I first started living here. I had I was working at a restaurant part-time while I was trying to get the dating advice thing off the ground. And I had, because we get paid in cash every night as a server. So I had several ones in there and some 20s. I have it all 20s and ones, and try to get it as condensed as possible. So there's a homeless guy sitting here, black, right in front of our door at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night or something.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting in the rocks. And I just went up and talked to him for 30 minutes and then gave him whatever ones I had. And he told me something that blew my mind. He's like, honestly, it's not, we don't always want money. Sometimes we just want conversation,
What he just said was so powerful. I hope you just slow down and listen to that, because you're right. Sometimes it's not about the money or even the food. Sometimes they want to feel like a human. What did that feel like to you? Did it feel good? I mean, what did it feel like to hear that?
I've had a couple moments like that with homeless people where I've given them something in the moment, whether it's food or just conversation like that, and I've always felt really like I'm riding on a euphoria, for a little bit. It felt great because whatever stress I have is nothing compared to what he's dealing with,
Yeah, I've had to sometimes I have to take a break from the homeless and even from my mission, because my soul feels them. I'll feel hunger pains. I'll feel heartbreak. Because it's just, I'm their leader. I'm here in modern day right now. And the world has never been more broken. And I just raised Caleb Maddix, that took everything I had. And, I've spent just a year, can't even imagine. But, dude, I'm here to heal. I'm here to help heal the homeless and help give them hope. Because there is hope, but there's not hope if we keep doing it the way we're doing it. There's a saying that says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing. Everybody wants everything to get back to normal. That wasn't the message. Listen, you're spiritual. This whole COVID thing was a spiritual message. Call it God, call it the universe, call it nature. Call it the cries of 20 million children that are trapped in sex trafficking. Call it the cry of our veterans and unborn babies or whatever. Call it the cry of the poor. Call it the cry of, of nature, how we treat animals, how we treat nature, the deception of Hollywood, the deception of the government, the deception of media. Dude, that stuff can't win. There's karma. So we all just went through a major karma, ass kicking, if you would. Yeah. And it was supposed to be about an awakening. It was supposed to take us back to nature, back to family, back to love for America. I mean, we're supposed to have this big awakening of a patriotism. America's lost. We're so lost we don't realize how lost we are. I mean, the sad thing about people that are deceived is they don't know they're deceived.
Yeah.
That's scary, is when you don't even know you're deceived, and that's where a lot of people are, is because of the inputs. Inputs create outputs. The condition of our world has nothing to do with President Trump or Joe Biden. Zero. This has everything to do with what's been happening spiritually, our attitudes. We're spoiled Americans. We're supposed to get back to gratitude and humility. We're supposed to get back to family and friends and love and one race. And supposed to, maybe the church's building should have been shut down. Maybe God's pissed that they're not in the shelters and in the streets. I mean, all of this is a message.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my COVID rant for the day.
I think I told you on your birthday, I was like, dude, if one word to describe you would be passion. And you're like, well, I have a thing called passion for parents.
Yeah, so, parents with passion. Yeah, thank you.
It makes sense.
Well, because everybody wants my advice on how I raise Caleb.
Yeah.
And I started to put together a course, and I'm like, listen, there's only one way, and that's passion. That's it. If you have passion, same thing in business, love, anything. If you put passion into whatever you're doing, dude, you can go through hell and back and you'll still end up on top. And so, thank you for that. Passion is where it's at because we only live once. We were born from passion.
Yeah.
You were born because your father had an orgasm. That's passion.
Damn, I've never thought about it like that.
See, that's why we don't have sexual teaching. We wonder why we're sexually dysfunctional. Think about our sexually dysfunctional society. We have politicians selling babies to drink their blood and have sex with them. I mean, let's think about that a minute. This is a true story. True story. We have politicians, we have pastors, we have popes, we have we have police officers. We got some people in high places that are literally involved in having sex with children. Yeah. Okay? Porn is $1 billion. Porn. Watching other people have sex. In a world when we can have sex 24/7, for some reason we're so sexually twisted that porn is $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
Okay, then you talk about the gay and lesbian movement. Okay, that's gone crazy. We can talk about anything, right?
Yeah.
We're sexually dysfunctional. People are wanting sex with animals and children, and men are wanting sex with men and women. Wait a minute. The only reason any breathing human being is on earth is because of a penis and a vagina, a man and a woman. Like, that is the healthy sexual energy that came out of orgasm, that came out of passion, that came out of most people that had sex were in love. They were feeling like, you can't have an orgasm without the sexual energy. So we're on earth because of sex.
Yeah.
God created sex. But who talks about sex?
Nobody. You're not allowed to.
Now, talk about sex. Don't talk about sex in church. Talk about sex in, and when I start talking about it, I get laced on my social media sometimes. Yeah. But all these Christians, I can't believe, like, our children need to hear this. Because our children, all they're seeing is 5,000 images a day. TikTok, the average American watches what? 4 hours of TV. It's nothing but sexual images. It's nothing but, innuendos. It's nothing but just programming. And we need sexual breakthrough. Mm-hmm. We need sexual healing. And we need to realize the power of passion comes from our sexual birth. We're supposed to be on earth passionately living, creating, serving, changing the world. Like, what's your vision? What's your dream? Like, what's your cause? What cause are you fighting for? So that's kind of where my passion comes from, is like, I had a passionate grandfather. He was a Marine. My dad was very passionate, very strict, very tough, but very loving. And I tell people all the time, look, as parents, there's only one way to be with your children, and that's loving as heaven, tough as hell. And that's how I was with Caleb. His world was a dream and a nightmare. A nightmare because of the discipline, because of his brain never got a break from mission.
Yeah.
18 years of his life, his brain has never had a day off of me flashing. Even now on my Instagram, most of my Instagram as a dad is just constantly subliminally flashing messages at my son because I know what kind of mission he's on. Anyways, that's where the passion comes from.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? I'm curious, man. Is it overwhelming? Is this too much?
No, this is great. One story that you guys told at your birthday a couple weeks ago, that I've been thinking about, and you just reminded me of it in your story there, because I wonder what it would be like being in your shoes and also on his shoes, and if I would have done the same thing. Which is the story of you basically, he's going over to Grant Cardone's and he's like, well, Grant Cardone's going to make me pitch. And you're telling him, nah, he's not going to make you pitch. And he's like, well, should I practice just in case? And you're like, no, you're good. And then you set him up to have him be put on the spot and pitch, right? So I'm curious on, like, obviously you said you did it intentionally. Did you know how it was going to turn out? Or did you have faith? Or did you have a hypothesis? What was kind of your thinking then? And then, what would you have done had he kind of like done the opposite of what he did, which was crush it, because it's okay to not crush it every time.
Yeah, and he's failed, Yeah. Failure's the game. Failure to me is really the secret sauce of success. To me, it's like, give me somebody that says, I want to succeed, and I'll tell them, you only have one focus, fail. You want to succeed? The higher you want your success, the deeper your failures have to be. Because there is no success without risk, without power, without the ability to handle pressure. You cannot have high-level success without being tough, mentally, emotionally. You got to have the ability to take the knocks. You got to have the ability to get, business is brutal. There's betrayals, there's bankruptcies, there's losses, there's a lack of sometimes cash, And so obviously Caleb had the gift of playing baseball. Baseball is a beautiful game. If I could get every parent to get their young boys playing baseball and even their girls playing softball, because it's a good game. It's a good game to teach you about, to me, there's no better sport that teaches you about the true analogy of success and failure. That, hey, you know what? You're going to get out more than you're going to actually suck more than you succeed. Can I tell you the truth? My 45 years, I have done some amazing stuff. If I broke it down, we'd be here 2 more hours. I'm not kidding. If I broke down the actual amazing, they say you don't really recognize a genius until he's gone. You know, I already know people aren't going to recognize the stuff I've done because I'm literally 50 years ahead in my brain, in my strategy, in my soul, in my vision, even in how I parented Caleb. You know, I'm a man on a mission. I'm here from a different world. I'm here to solve the biggest problem, fatherlessness, you know? So I had to become the greatest dad. And then, dude, I went through some losses, man. You know, Caleb's life was not easy. Caleb's life was tough. It was heaven and hell. His mom's very passionate. Caleb has an amazing mother. She's, you know, and that's why I tell him, Caleb, you call your mom every day, you know, and they didn't see eye to eye either, just like Caleb and I didn't see eye to eye, and his mom definitely and I, we co-parented for 14 years. That was tough. It was like, I feel like I could be the next Dr. Phil. Because I've navigated through every scenario you could imagine. You know, I was a stepson with a dad that I wanted to kill when I was a kid to now I love and respect him. You know, I went through times when I hated my dad, you know. My mother, you know, she gave me to my father when I was 2 years old. And, you know, I'm 45, and in 43 years, I've never really truly been able to truly feel her true love. You know what I mean? So, like, I've seen real life, man. You know, my son's mother had an affair, you know. My best friend died of cancer. Another best friend, you know, his wife's calling me screaming, something's happened to Tim, and I walk in as his daughter's screaming, she's screaming, and he dropped out of a heart attack, you know. I mean, I've had real losses, you know, I've had real life scenarios. I've had, you know, I've made $1 million in 4 markets, I've lost millions, I've made stupid business decisions, you know, but I've had a lot of wins. So, you know, I wanted to get Caleb ready for the real world. And, you know, he grew up in a Christian school, and he grew up, you know, in the church world, and that can become unrealistic. That can almost weaken a man sometimes. You know, especially, you know, and I'll get deeper on, how long do you usually go on your podcast?
As long as we want.
Yeah, I mean, my God, that's what I love about it. It's just like flow here.
Yeah.
But, you know, so a lot of what I did with Caleb was intuitive. Dude, but I spent a lot of time with masters. And we've been blessed to be in the presence of masters. And more is caught than taught. So I ask the best questions when I'm with these masters, but I study them. I listen to them. I've been a student, you know, I've been deep into personal growth. I've been deep into spirituality. I'm a very spiritual person. I do walk with God. I hear from God. I mean, I have visits from angels, you know. I mean, I've had real spiritual experiences. I've seen, you know, I've been in places most people will never go, and I've heard stories most people, so it's put me in this place of perspective of life, and I just didn't want Caleb to turn 18 and get into a world this crazy and not be equipped.
Yeah.
So, like, I have peace. I set my son free in the craziest America that we've ever seen. Think about it. America's never been this crazy. And, you know, it was stressful and tough as a dad because he's a man now. He's 18. But I have peace because he's tough. He's disciplined. You know, he knows how to make money. He's got character. He's smart. I taught him a lot of military ways. We're very militaristic in our, we're very military oriented, even though we personally didn't go through the military. But I've had so many deep conversations with my uncle and my grandfather.
Yeah.
And, you know, those are some good principles to pass on to our young men, our kids. You know, I think our kids are too weak. You know, I tell parents, you know, everybody's trying to worry about that I don't want to be too tough on our kids. No, that's not the problem. The problem is we're too easy on them. Yeah. Problem is, you know, we as parents, you know, most parents' brains are fried because of the world they grew up in. So yeah, all the stuff I did with Caleb was very intuitive, but it was also my inputs, you know, and just kind of from sports, from military, from my masters, and just kind of like my love for him, my commitment. You got to realize the deeper the commitment, the more you're open. The deeper your commitment to something, the more you're connected to God. There is some kind of God energy that comes to a deep commitment. Well, dude, I walked away from success to be Caleb's, to be the great dad I am, to homeschool Caleb, to coach his baseball, to spend the time with him, you know. turning off my phone when school was over at 3 o'clock and not turning it back on until he went to bed. Every day. Like, that's commitment, man, when you own a business and you're a worldwide speaker. I mean, I traveled the world. I led a movement. I juggled a lot of stuff. I co-parented with his mother, you know. There was a lot to balance, but there was a commitment that Caleb was my 24/7. Probably when he was about 10, dude, I walked away from everything. I was making an easy probably 40 to 50K a month. I was living good. And, you know, I just realized, you know, my son's going to be 18 in 8 years. What am I going to regret when he turns 18? And I made a list of everything I would regret, you know, when he turns 18. And I determined not to do any of this, even though I wasn't perfect. You know, it was, and so Caleb is not, see, my story about Caleb is not about his success. That's going to happen because, you know, greatness just rises to the top. You know what I mean?
So you almost subconsciously were saying if he crushes it, it's a win. If he doesn't,
it's a big win.
Yeah.
If he fails, it's a win because there's no way to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because our belief is all things work together, you know, and our belief is, you know, we create our own reality. Our belief is you take 100%. So he has some deeper beliefs that give him strength when bad. He's not so bad. Life's not easy. It doesn't look. Listen, and you know this. You know, everybody looks at our lives, our successes, and they assume it's just we wake up at noon, we go and hit a few drinks, and then just goof off. No, like we work hard, man.
We're not drinking. We're smoking.
Yeah. Come on. Anyway, so what are your thoughts on this? Does this make you want to have a son?
Well, I've been thinking about it a lot. You know, I just turned 30 this year, and I've always,
young.
I know. I feel like I'm at a place where I don't feel like I'm ready for kids, but at the end of the day, do you ever feel ready? And second, I do feel I've always had the vision or the dream of being a younger father. So having a kid in my 20s, which I didn't get the chance to do simply because my dad was 45. I think he was 40 when I was born. I remember his 45th birthday, which is ironic because he also had ice cream cake.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I remember that was the first time I had ice cream cake.
Dude, I didn't even know that was ice cream cake, by the way, until it melted. I'm like, oh, my goodness. But anyways, keep going.
Bring it out into a hot Arizona
You and your
day.
dad real close?
Well, he passed away from cancer like almost 10 years ago. But, yeah, we were really close.
How old were you, man?
21.
28, because you're 30 now.
Yeah, so speaking of the military, he Vietnam vet.
Your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was his name?
Rodney.
Man, we got to do something in honor of your dad. Some kind of, is it a picture with the name Rodney or something in here? Something
I
like.
have some memorabilia that definitely has a lot of sentimental value from him, but it's at my mom's house in Kansas.
So your dad was a Vietnam vet.
Dude,
vet. That's celebrity status. See,
Yeah.
we have it flipped upside down, this whole thing of
Yeah.
celebrity in our world. That's another thing that's coming crashing down right now. And we'll get back to your dad in a second, but if any of you watching and listening are chasing to become a celebrity, it's going to be the saddest chase of your life. Because by the time you get there, most people will be so disinterested because our world is awakening. It's awakening. There's a rebirth happening. So people like your dad, Rodney, are like heroes. Those are real heroes. Those are like people that like, you know, should be honored. Those are people that every street name should have the last name of a veteran.
How cool would that be?
Really, we should change that in America.
Yeah.
You know, so he was a Vietnam vet. Was he did he have some PTSD from that?
Man, I don't think he had a lot of PTSD in the traditional sense, but there was definitely some trauma there. I was telling Chris and Kate this other day, some of my earliest memories, me and my dad, we had like a basement, main level, and then an upstairs. So we would always go to the basement. He had a bar down there, and I was a kid from like age 2 to, I don't know, 9, 10 years old. We would sit down there in the basement at night. He would make a whiskey Coke, and he would tell me war stories.
Dude, isn't that magical, bro?
Yeah.
Seriously, that's getting me choked up, man.
Yeah.
Just the thought of him having a whiskey and Coke and telling you war stories.
Yeah, and I think that for him was almost therapeutic because I'm a kid, literally 3 years old, 4 years old. I don't know what he's talking about. and he's crying, you know, and he's showing me newspaper articles. He's showing me, you know, those fucking old films where you put it on the fucking thing and it spins the reel, you know. He's showing me
Man,
old videos.
What a legend, dude.
Yeah.
And you didn't really appreciate it in that moment, did you? I mean, you loved it, but not even nowhere near where you're thinking now, right?
Yeah.
What do you wish?
He was a helicopter pilot.
What do you wish?
I wish that I could have talked to him as a 30-year-old man from that perspective, knowing what I know now.
Absolutely.
You know?
No, I feel you on that with my grandfathers. And don't you kind of wish we'd have video? Like most conversations I have with Caleb or I have on video or audio. And sometimes like that, because I'm always like, one day you will cherish these. Your kids will cherish these. Don't you wish you'd have done more like video, those conversations?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I'm sure there was some juicy shit dropped in those conversations, but it's just, you know, he's talking to a kid. It's like me talking to my dog, you know, my little cute puppy who doesn't know anything.
Is that therapeutic, by the way? Because I'm thinking about getting a dog. I need some therapy in my life. You know, warriors need therapy. You know, I'm a warrior, dude. Your dad was a warrior.
Oh, yeah. Vietnam vet, drafted, became retired to lieutenant colonel, and he was drafted. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
Dude, what a legacy.
Yeah.
What a legacy, man.
Yeah. And honestly, he retired the year I was born. So as a lieutenant colonel. So that was a whole other life that I didn't even know, you know?
So looking back, I mean, I'm sure that, you know, the military never leaves you. You know, did a lot of those ways kind of translate into how he fathered you?
I would say so, 100%. He was very much he was probably the most disciplined person I know. Very disciplined, great leader. He would just like in groups, like we had a condo at the Lake of the Ozarks. Like he was already, I mean, just naturally they made him the president of the condo association. Like, so just, but he's a guy who's a leader because he's experienced shit, you know, like
real life.
He was a foster child before he was drafted.
Wow, dude.
Because he was abused as a kid, you know?
Wow. So down in your future, there will be some kind of calling for you to foster kids.
Possibly, maybe.
Yeah, well, here's why. Because there's no accidents. Like, dude, there's the fact that you were born to the mother and father that you were. And in the family line, see, we're here to heal our family.
Yeah.
We're here to heal but part of healing our family is healing what broke our family in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, and I'm not saying now, and it might be just at Christmas time. But there's something
spiritual energy that carries through generation to generation.
That you heal it. Like there's a lot of fatherlessness in my family. You know, my mom's life was dramatically impacted from that. You know, my grandfather's dad died at war from causes of war. Think about that. He grew up without a dad because his dad died at war. So like you're called on this earth to be healers and healers in the area that you've been hurt the most. So listen closely to, and it doesn't mean it just means down the road there's going to be something in your life with foster kids. It don't mean you're going to adopt one. It might be that you adopt a foster, maybe for all the foster homes in Phoenix. Yeah. Because you're going to get richer than you 100%. Already are. And sooner or later, it's going to become a game of how many people can I help and give. And it's probably for you, it's going to be foster care is a major cause right now. There's a lot of pain in foster care. It's probably the number one source of human trafficking.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Wow.
Think about it.
That's crazy.
They go get those kids. They own them at that point.
Yeah.
Money, dude. Money rules the world, man. Don't think it don't happen. It happens, man. But anyways.
I want to come back to that in a second, but let's put a little pause on that because you post a lot about the child trafficking that's going on, right?
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, kind of like the generational energy, you know, it's funny. I see a lot of parallels between Kate's life, my girlfriend, and my dad's life. You know, she was raised by her aunt and uncle. Luckily, she had like that father and mother figure for that reason. But her mom is out there crazy. You know, her mom, not only did she have, so first off, she's never met her father. Her mom was a teenager who got pregnant with her. Father was a foreign exchange student at the same high school and, you know, fucked off, didn't want the child, right? So she's never met him. I think that's where she gets her looks, was her father's side. Anyways,
she never met her father.
Never met her father, had her mom was bringing men around, but she had 2 little brothers.
Yeah.
All 3 of them different fathers. But the men that she was dating would abuse Kate. So Kate's not even, so Kate would be mad if she heard me even talking about this, but I won't go into details, but basically she's experienced abuse in a similar fashion to what caused my dad to be put in a foster home. So she had, her mom's still around, but her mom, obviously doesn't have custody of her or her siblings. And so she was raised by her aunt and uncle here in Arizona. So there's a lot of details I left out, but that's the basic gist. So, maybe things do happen for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a powerful story she has,
Yeah.
Do you think she's going to one day maybe share that?
Oh yeah. She's told me she's turning 26 this week, right?
Yeah.
So she's still young. And dating me, I'm not trying to toot my horn a little bit, but like dating me has opened her eyes to a new way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
Because I dropped out to become a dating coach.
Yeah.
I'm building a business. So she's saying business, entrepreneurship, being self-made, taking risks, things like this, personal development. This is stuff that she was never exposed to before she met me, and so dating me, now she has kind of like, she's looking forward, setting goals. She wants to literally, I guess, be the next Dr. Phil type figure, but for basically fatherless or motherless children.
Absolutely,
or children
man.
who
That's
are abused,
amazing. Yeah,
that's her grand vision, and so I know for 100% fact she'll do that one day. It's interesting to see how my priorities might change moving forward too.
Of course, yeah, dude. That's powerful, and she will do that.
Yeah,
she will, because that's part of the purpose and the pain. Sometimes is God, the universe, whatever your followers want to say. They trust us.
Yeah.
I can say God. God trusts me with the pain because I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use. This pain made me stronger. This pain made me more humble. It made me more deep. It made me more real. It made me more grateful. But you turn that pain and you go heal those that have experienced that pain, and the pain you went through goes away. That's how you heal. You heal by being a healer. Most people don't know that. Most people stay in victim mode.
Yeah.
Now you got to go help somebody else. That's the fastest way to get out of a funk, is like, go help somebody who has it worse than you.
Yeah.
Watch what happens to your energy. If you're feeling down, call and encourage somebody. If you're feeling lonely, go to a nursing home and bring some flowers to an elderly lady randomly. Hey, I just wanted to bring these by and give them to you.
Yeah.
And watch what happens. So there's so much we can do to change our state and all of that. But that's awesome that she's going to use that as a platform to help us. Because guess what? They need people like Kate. Because, Patrick, there's millions of girls that are literally, we forget, when we hear statistics, we forget there's millions of little girls. Yeah. Little innocent girls who are crying for some kind of hope or some kind of healing or some kind of voice or some kind of someone to give them, because they are broken.
Yeah.
Think about it. If there's 20 million fatherless kids in America, let's say half of them are girls. That means there's 10 million little girls with no daddy, that went through what she went through. Yeah. So that's why we started Maddix Publishing, Caleb and I. It was about finding the voices of world changers, finding the voices of healers, finding the voices of people that are like yourself. Like you're a business, but you're a brand. You're like bigger than a business. Like so that's what enticed us to start it, because we've always wanted to lead leaders, because we're here to love and serve the followers, but we want to awaken people like Kate who have a powerful story and a powerful mission. Because it's going to take two things. It's going to take somebody that knows how to tell your story, and, knows how to write the book, and then also knows how to really like get that story out there, get that message out there, get on the biggest stages, the biggest podcast, every radio, every TV. Just, I taught Caleb when he first got started, go everywhere. I had him doing sales calls every day to churches, sell 100 copies. Sell 100. Call them up right now. I mean, dude, there's 400,000 churches in America. Every one of them has their number on Google, so you have unlimited leads. You call them up. I'm 12 years old. How many children do you have in your kids? I just wrote a book for children. How many kids do you have in your church? I'd like to give you a good deal, sir. I mean, obviously, I'm condensing his pitch. He had a smooth pitch he created.
Yeah.
Dude, he was selling boxes of his books.
Wow.
So one phone call was now worth $1,200 to him. All he needed to do was the church to say, yes, I'll buy 100 books. Well, good. Normally it would be, XX, but I'll send them to you, right now for, and he would do it for like $700, $1,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how he broke through, was just staying in that rhythm of, I'm here to tell my story.
Yeah.
I want my story everywhere. And too many people are not that way. They have this story and this mission, and, it's probably either because of either lack of training. It's probably also because of a lack of confidence. It could be also because people don't know what's possible once they set themselves free. Once they set themselves free to say, I can do this in 30 days. Someone like, for example, let's say Kate was watching. I would tell your girlfriend, I would be like, hey, you know what? Write your book before Christmas. Get it to every juvenile center in America. Get it to every, foster care home, and get it out to all these broken girls and, parent, get it to daycares, get it to churches, get it to wherever their parents are. Because, dude, there's no good books. There's millions but there's no good books. Yeah, there are. Let me
There are 0 good books in this world. None of them other than mine. HowToGetGirlNow.com.
No. I'm meaning, no. I meant to say there's really no good books in our prisons or in our juvenile centers. There's just not. I go in there and I look at the books, and there's no inspirational books. We need inspirational books.
Yeah.
So tell your girl to write her book, man.
So first off, I do think that's a vision of hers. Now, here's what I think about her as well. I see from the outside looking in, I feel like her strength, the things that she probably gets annoyed at, the fact that she wants to be in control of a lot of things. She's very independent. She doesn't like to be relying on others, right? These are things that have come through developing thick skin in her life, right? But my observation, and I'm sure she would express this sentiment too, is I don't think she's ready yet to face the demons.
Yeah, of course. That's normal.
So,
and that's so true, especially for a lady, man.
Yeah.
What you just said is so true. That's hard for a lady. That's so vulnerable, man. To share something like that is, they relive some of the experiences. It can cause, because I've walked with a lot of people. We have one in our Maddix Publishing now, Michelle. She was raped by her youth pastor, gave birth at age 16. Had to be sent off to talk about the church. Had to be sent off, 4 hours away to live with his family because it didn't look good for her to be pregnant, in front of the whole church. And so now she's 16, living with strangers, carrying a baby, and she's about to give it up for adoption. And I could go on. And dude, it's so emotional for them to revisit these stories. So you're so right. It's a readiness, man.
Yeah.
You sense that she's not ready, or she's expressed it?
I mean, I can just tell from the fact that she hasn't 100% opened up about a lot of that stuff to me yet, and I'm getting it in glimpses over time, And I just know, like, literally, because I asked her, hey, do you want to go to this workshop where it's like, I don't even know quite what it was, but it's basically helping you overcome a lot of like child trauma and shit.
Yeah, that's
and
real stuff.
She was like so turned off by the idea of doing that.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it.
And I couldn't see why at the time. I was like, why? This is going to be beneficial. Everybody says they love it. But I didn't realize, because I haven't experienced what she's experienced. She's just not ready to face it yet, When she's ready, she will.
Oh, so normal.
Yeah.
So normal. There's stuff I'm going to write that I'm not ready to share.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you going to write, Pat? You already wrote one.
Yeah, you're right.
What's the next book?
I know there will be one day.
Hey, how do my followers follow you? Because I'm going to save my battery and have Chris turn that off. How do they follow you? I want everybody to follow you.
Just look me up, Patrick James, on YouTube. So the podcast is called #Raw and Relentless.
But if they want like your boot camp, if I got some young men that might need your boot camp.
You type in Patrick James, I'll be the first one to show up.
Oh yeah, I like
Patrick
that.
James, Raw Dating Advice. I've done good on the Google SEO.
Okay, awesome, man.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for watching. I'm only turning it off to save my battery. So if you want to listen to the rest of our chat, you'll have to jump over on his podcast. It's going to be on YouTube eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll shoot you the link. It'll be on Instagram, things like that. So
yeah, follow him on Instagram too. All right, Chris, you mind turning me off? I'll stay with you if you. I just want to save my battery and
of course
spit out a little Instagram while we're hanging.
Yeah. I have a couple questions that I definitely want to ask you.
All right, let's
go. We can also go into the child trafficking thing here in a second.
Hey, hand me that, will you, Bubba?
I'll wait for Chris to get back on the
Chris
camera.
is killing it on camera. You talk about a man that's focused. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so
I'm listening.
Cool. I lost my train of thought for a second. All right, we're back.
We are back. Sorry about the interruption.
So you
save my battery,
a while 10 15 minutes ago mentioned that you had what up
my boy Patrick
Yes,
James.
sir.
Make sure you follow him. We're having a blast. Hey, dude, how fun's it been so far?
Dude, I feel like we could go for another couple of hours.
Have we had a blast on this podcast?
Yeah.
How would you sum it up? I'm just curious.
Real, raw.
That's the name of it, guys. By the way, make sure you follow Patrick, and any of you that are powerful and you're raw, you're real, make sure you connect with Patrick because he's the number one. What are you, the number one dating coach in America right now?
Yes, sir.
Or in the world?
Get my book and let the results speak for themselves.
Oh, come on. There's our boy Chris. Everybody say hi to Chris. Are we live, dude?
No, we're not live.
Anyways, go ahead. I'm ready. What's the question?
All right, so you mentioned that you had experienced things and you meet angels every day. And that brought me a question that I wrote down last night because I wanted to make sure to ask you about it. And I have no clue if this will go off in any direction that I cannot predict, right?
Yeah, well, I won't embarrass you, so don't worry. Have I embarrassed you yet? Have I said
hell
anything
no.
that's cringy? Or like...
I was joking beforehand. I was like, maybe I need to do some psychedelics so I can drop my ego. But honestly, I have no ego. You can't embarrass me. Like, I've embarrassed myself. Literally, I've experienced the hardest thing, which is dropping out of dental school, a sure thing to become a doctor, to become a dating coach with 0 subscribers, 0 followers, and YouTube videos about picking up women. And the massive social rejection that I faced doing that, especially from family members who don't support my decision to do that, who still don't support that decision, who leave comments and I have to block them on my social media, distant people who are related to me. It's just, there's not a lot of things that will embarrass me or throw me off my game because I've experienced that.
Yeah.
So anyways, I have a story that I would like to share with you, but I'd like to get your thoughts first.
Okay.
Have you ever experienced anything that you truly cannot explain?
Oh my goodness, so much. First of all, let me clarify for those that are listening. Yeah, I don't see angels every day.
Yeah.
I believe there's angels with me every day. But I've had a few, probably maybe 5 encounters with angels. That's kind of unexplainable. Probably one that's very unexplainable was, I was in Sedona, Arizona, and one night I was sleeping outside. A very spiritual weekend, just kind of meditating, writing, creating my movement, Parents with Passion, Maddix Missions. So I was kind of in a real deep place of creation and what I'm here to do, And I just woke up in the middle of the night, man. Grabbing my arm, and there was this old war vet looking angel. I had an old, rugged hat. It just looked like an old war vet, power, fire, chiseled, and it would happen so fast. Dude, it shook me. At first it scared the out of me, and then I had peace like you can't imagine because the message, he had fire in his eyes, and he said, I'm here.
Legit fire?
Yeah, there was a fire coming out of his eyes. It was like this glow, it was like this... It's almost like he didn't have eyes, it was like so fast. And
so you were in Sedona and you were asleep.
Sleeping.
And you felt something grab your arm.
Yeah, something.
Was it an aggressive jerk or was it kind of like a tug?
Yeah, it was just a very smooth grab, it was just like
to get your attention?
Got my attention,
Or
woke
to
up, and he
startle
said,
you?
it didn't. It happened so fast. This is what I mean, unexplainable. Is that, and then he looked right in my eyes and said, we're coming for the children. We're coming to rescue them. And he was gone. You know,
Did he
because
say it or did
he
you
said
hear
it.
it
He said it.
telepathically?
No, he
Okay.
said it, man.
Okay.
Yeah, he said it, and I know that's
Wow.
unexplainable, you know, but that's where you got to like know that like we're all
And
energy
when it
in
was
a body.
gone, was it like you blinked and then you opened, it was gone, or like it just kind of faded off?
It was just a disappearing. It was like a fading disappearing. It happened so fast. Grabbed my arm, told me the message, looked deep in my eyes, gone.
Wow. It almost
Not
so
a
fast.
dream. Not a dream, man. I know the difference. I'm a very normal human. I don't have a lot of weird experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
But that's just one of them that I can't explain.
Wow.
I've had a couple like that.
Huh.
What do you think of that? Is that kind of tough? What does that feel to you?
I'm trying to process real quick.
It's okay,
I'm picturing
yeah.
This. Yeah. So, is the image of this person or angel? Do you vividly remember what they look like?
Dude, I vividly can see it right now as if it's looking at you.
And the fire, it wasn't literal fire.
No, it was like
passion.
a laser. It was like this glow. It was like a
literal glow. Like
yeah,
if I-
just like a laser, like
Okay.
lasers coming out of his eyes. But I didn't see lasers.
Did
it
he
was
look
like his-
human?
Yeah, it was in human form.
Okay. Any differences from human? Like if you saw him in a crowd, would he look any different?
Not at all, man. I
Okay.
mean, it just was one of those things where he's wearing like a green, you know, almost like running into an old soldier.
From like the Civil War era?
Yeah, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories of this out there, this similar stuff. I mean, this human trafficking thing is not accidentally being exposed right now. This is
Was that something you were passionate about at that time, or was that something you realized through that experience?
No. I've been waking up to the horrors of human trafficking since last Father's Day.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was kind of another spiritual experience I had where I felt like I had an out-of-body experience because it was kind of like an awakening to the truth of our world and the neglect of, you know, Hollywood, Disney, and religion. And, you know, they have all the resources, man. You know? Come on, they have all the resources to heal our kids. They're
100%.
not.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like this has been a year where you'll see it when you see Maddix missions and parents with passion out there and what Caleb's doing with Apex, you'll see it. It'll be millions, my friend. I mean, millions of awakened, powerful people that are out there just living it the way we're supposed to be living it. Healthy, happy, you know, out in nature, you know, yoga, prayer, whatever, you know, experience, spiritual, but physical, but emotional, but financial, but also on a mission. You know, we're all supposed to be on a mission. No matter what it is, everybody's got to have a cause. Something, some kind of pain you're healing. Some kind of someone that can't repay you. You know, who like, you know, for me, it's like I'm trying to think about giving away 1,000 turkeys to needy families this year, right here in Phoenix. I'm not thinking about doing that. I'm thinking about putting together a plan, say, well, that's only 100 people bringing 10 turkeys to the event.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we're gonna market this to the companies that know about the neediest families. We're gonna have a night of healing. You know, we're gonna bring in music. We're gonna have motivational speaking. We're gonna cater and barbecue, and give away a car to a single mom. You know, you can't imagine what it's like to be a single mom. You know, raising 2 or 3 kids, no child support, no father. A lot of these moms, buddy, they the best they can do is maybe a job at Walmart. You know, they're raising 3 future American adults.
Yeah.
You know, we should be helping. You know, when I was a pastor, we gave away a car to a single mom on Mother's Day every year.
Wow.
Just because it was like, what a church is doing with the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
That's a
I don't know
good
how I got off of that,
question.
but yeah, so I'm not weird. I'm just very deep.
Yeah.
So because I've been in so many deep spiritual places, I'm obviously more open spiritually because of all my practices and places I've been.
I see.
So it's probably why I maybe have more deeper experiences like that. Maybe I am here to be a messenger.
One of the reasons why
yeah.
I wanted to ask the question is because I had an experience happen to me, ironically, at a church.
I want to hear it. What was it?
And I cannot explain it to this day. And just full disclosure, I've gone down the UFO conspiracy rabbit hole, right? The whole alien phenomenon. And part of me was trying to think, well, maybe this was that. But then last night I was like, well, I'm going to talk to Caleb's dad tomorrow. I knew he was once a pastor and I want to get his input on this. So literally we were doing the Christmas nativity scene.
Okay.
And first off, I have no idea why I had to preface with the UFO. I guess I wanted to
Dude, I'm into conspiracies. One
freaky
time we should do a whole show of nothing but conspiracies.
I would love that. You have no
we
idea.
could go deep, dude. But anyways, go ahead. So yeah.
So literally, so we were doing a Christmas nativity scene where I was playing Joseph and I was a kid, and we had a steeple built out behind the church in the grass, right? And we came back at night, so it was like a Sunday night. It was a winter in Kansas, so it was a little bit chilly, and the whole congregation was dressed up like, shepherds, and they all had the robes and the staffs and whatnot. I was dressed like Joseph, obviously, and we were sitting there. So the steeple is wooden, and it's like a half room. So it's like this, and then the roof on top, and everybody's in front of us, and that's what it is. It's like half a box. So I'm sitting in the corner, like I am right here, and literally the whole congregation's in front of me. They're singing hymns, and they give all the kids and all the people there, because it's at night, glow sticks. But I'm a 7-year-old kid. I've never seen a glow stick. I'm fascinated with what they are, so they're handing them out. They break it and it lights up. They shake it up. I'm like, yo, this is amazing, and I get mine as a 7-year-old kid, and I'm sitting there. I'm obsessed with the glow stick, and the whole thing is going on. Anyways, I see this kid who's playing one of the wise men sitting in front of me, and he's chewing on the glow stick like this. And I'm thinking, oh, I want to chew on my glow stick. I'm a little kid, right? So I put my glow stick up to my mouth. The moment it touches my mouth, I hear a voice right here, right behind my head, whispers. So I can't tell you if it was male or female. It was a whisper. And it said, "There's poison in that."
You're joking.
I swear to God, it said, "There's poison in that." Just like that. It sounded just like that. Right here, I'm in the back corner. Everybody's in front of me. We're outside in the grass at night. I cannot explain it to this day. Afterwards, I go up to the pastor, because it's kind of like everybody's walking around, talking to each other after church. I talk to the pastor. I'm like, yo, Pastor McKinney, I heard this voice outside. Here's what happened. But first, is there poison in this? He goes, yeah, there is. Don't put that in your mouth. And I said, okay. Well, I heard a voice that told me there was poison in this, and I had no idea. And that's why I asked you. And so right then my dad walks up, and Pastor Jim McKinney says to my dad, "Rod, your son, he says he heard the voice of God outside." It's just joking, and they laughed it off, and I'm just a little kid.
Yeah. Did you, what did you feel though? Do you remember feeling that? Did it scare you? Did it make you feel like I just heard God's voice?
No, I thought, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was, I guess I thought it was God.
Yeah, what do you to this day, like if you're going to go back and think, okay, what was that? What do you think it was?
So I think that's why I preface with the UFO, because when you go into the conspiracy of the UFO, obviously that leads you into government secrets. I also recently learned that the government, CIA, was testing remote viewing, psychics, telepathy, things like this, like legit research, legit programs, So I'm thinking, well, I grew up in an army town. The army base is right there. What if one of those psychic people was in the audience? That's one explanation. Another, what if it was a UFO beaming down thoughts to my head? Or third, what if it was a guardian angel?
Dude, first of all, you gotta love all your 3 what ifs, bro. That is so powerful.
I've thought about it so much.
Yeah.
I cannot explain it. How am I supposed to know that there's poison in that? It can't be my subconscious. This is the first time I've seen a glow stick, So it's not like it was a suppressed thought. And I heard it vividly. It's almost like someone literally put their face right here and whispered right there. How can you explain that?
Well, if you do go biblically, right? That's how God speaks, is whispers.
Okay.
Everybody thinks God's voice is this big, thunderous, no, it's actually whispers.
Okay.
And if you'll, for me, what I'll do is I'll ask God questions, and then I'll just start hearing these little whispers. It's not the one you're describing.
Yeah.
I have before, but not the way you're describing it all the time. You get it? Yeah. The real voice of God in your life is your intuition. That could have been your guardian angel. It could have been God. And it could have also been your intuition speaking loudly, because who knows what could have happened if you would have
That's what I always think of. I'm like, well, you know, maybe something bad could have happened if I didn't listen to that voice. You know, I could have poisoned myself in front of the whole church. That could have been bad. Well, the glow stick never broke. You know, I remember that.
Well, what are your top 3 spiritual practices now? I'm curious.
I would say one of the ones that it's probably a bad habit, but only because I've let it get there. But more often than not, it's a good habit. Smoking weed, reflecting on my life at night when I'm trying to tune out of work, you know?
Yeah. You know, people don't realize, and this is why, again, the whole religion thing. I did a Facebook post this summer with a marijuana leaf on a Bible.
Okay.
It was called Jesus Smoked Weed. And it was a whole post about, hey, I know that you're not going to hear this from religion or the government, but marijuana is from God. What water is to your body, marijuana is to your soul and to your spirituality. It's good, like the benefits, you know. And so this is what I said in my post. I'm like, you know, be careful of people that tell you this is wrong, because they're taking away something that came from creation. Like marijuana does not make you a pothead. It doesn't make you any of these labels. Marijuana is as normal. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, it's got to be used in moderation, you know, but what is that? You know, it's like people, it's all comes to beliefs. It all comes to like, you know, a person's, what they were taught, their programming, their beliefs. I have a belief, of course, I used to have a belief that marijuana was a sin. It was a drug. It's like, you know, our president last night, he said, you know, I got some good drugs. I mean, right on national TV. I'm like, see the illusion where like, you know, alcohol, all the medicine, cigarettes is like, yeah, I mean, as long as you're 21, but like marijuana is like, it's not even legal in Arizona yet.
Yeah.
How? This is Arizona. This is the most spiritual state there is.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very disappointed still in America that we're frowning on something that's so gifted from God. It's something that's, you know, I believe it would change America. I believe it really would. I wish it was something as normal as people doing at church or home, you know, at school. Not kids, obviously, because of the brain development. But anyway, so that's cool. So yours is that. Do you do any like journaling? You a journaler?
I journal, but I've for many years I would journal affirmations. I would journal my goals every day, things like that. Today, I just got a couple notepads up there that it's just like real quick sticky notes, and it's like your top 6 things to get done today. 3 things that would be nice to get done, 2 things that you're definitely not going to get done, you know. And so that's just one sticky pad I bought from the Amazon store at the mall. And so, you know, I like to do it real quick, you know, if I'm about efficiency, but I do think it's important to at least script your days. You know, I turn these doors into whiteboards, you know, and I use them to plan. But as far as like journaling, yeah, I'll write down my goals, things like that. And then the weed, but,
what are your thoughts on marijuana?
Well, I always, like you said, used to think it was a sin. I thought it was bad. And I looked down on it, and luckily I got into it after my brain was fully formed, after I was age 25. I was like 28 when I started smoking, but I started smoking vape cartridges, and it was small, you know, because before I didn't like it. I would always just go to sleep, you know, and didn't feel like I was in control. But now that I've kind of done it methodically, and I started later in life, and I'm giving it the respect it deserves. You know, I've created, I don't think my business would be where it is had I not found it. I told the girls on the double date, they were asking me a lot of questions. I literally said the double date I didn't want to be on, that I was on involuntarily on. I said I didn't consider myself a creative person until I started smoking weed.
Absolutely.
After I started smoking weed, I'm getting ideas out of left field that I would have never thought of before, that have literally taken my business to the next level. The documentary, perfect example. The boot camp, perfect example. These things are not results of me smoking weed and getting high and becoming a pothead. They're results of me using, like you said, a plant to for me, it was an anxiety thing.
Yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of financial anxiety.
Nothing wrong with that.
But now it's a creativity thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. I believe it's spiritual. I believe it's healthy. It's healthy for you physically. It doesn't ruin your brain. It doesn't make you lazy. All the labels, anybody listening, that's all lie. Hey, you're going to make you lazy. You're a piehead. You're not going to be productive. That's all a lie, man. That's a false belief.
I've also found that my ability to connect with people and just have raw conversation like this is way better after I started smoking weed.
Yeah.
So I don't think I was just in touch with as much of my empathetic side without weed.
Absolutely.
But I guess the part that I would say is potentially negative that I would be interested to see some studies on it. But I took biology of cancer cell when I was in college. I got a biology degree before dental school. And, one thing that the professor always said, smoke is smoke is smoke is smoke. All of it is smoke. All of it's bad for your lungs. It will all cause cancer.
Okay.
So when I hear, on the weed side, the weed favorable side, weeds heals inflammation. It's good for you. It opens up your mind, things like this. But then if I'm thinking in terms of just smoking, well, smoke on a just like a completely other topic than the THC, I wonder how potentially negative that could be on your lungs compared to cigarette smoke,
Yeah. I agree with that. And everything in moderation is the number one rule of life. Everything in moderation is like, I do a lot more edibles and oils because of that reason. So the only reason I have one now is just because I haven't, gotten my edibles in a while. I've just been busy. So it's just a matter of just, whatever. To me, I always refer to it as God's medicine. That's what I call marijuana. I'm like, that's God's medicine.
What do you think about DMT? I've never done it. I want to try it.
I believe that's also from God. I believe everything in moderation. I believe who you're with, where you're at, your environment, your state of mind, your beliefs, your spiritual, foundation, your openness to just realize this is not evil. This is not wrong. This is something that was put here from creation. And again, everything in moderation. I'm a believer in it. I'm very sad. Again, you can start seeing it popping up. Ann Arbor just made it, where it wasn't considered a crime. How can you consider that a crime?
Yeah.
Dude, the drugs they make should be a crime. That's a crime, dude. That's what's killing people. Again, I'm a believer in it because of the spiritual experience. Case in point, ayahuasca. I would say one experience with ayahuasca could be equivalent to 5 years of personal growth. Yes.
What was it like?
Life change, amazing, life changing. You're in another realm. You visit places in your own. It is undescribable. It's hard to describe. It's unlike anything you'll ever experience. It calls you, so it's probably calling you if you're open to that kind of stuff. It's something that you just surrender. You just surrender to it, and you realize, hey, this is here to change my life. This is here to open my. Think about Steve Jobs. Wouldn't have gotten Apple if it wasn't for LSD.
Yeah. Damn.
It was on LSD.
Are you serious?
100%.
I didn't know that.
Oh, the amount of billionaires that they always say millionaires study, books, billionaires study astrology. Dude, people at the higher level, there's hardly anybody at the higher level that didn't have some type of astrology or DMT or some type of master, some type of higher level training. Dude, nobody gets to the top with just the basics. It just doesn't work. That's why the government and religion and all the higher ups try to make it bad, because if we awaken, they can no longer control us.
Yeah.
It's all about control, man.
Yeah.
But ayahuasca is I would encourage any adult to be open to an ayahuasca experience, once a year.
You ever meet the creatures that people talk about on DMT or ayahuasca experiences?
Not as much. I mean, not for mine. I mean, whether it was You know, whether it was an experience with, no, not really. It was more just conversations with my grandma, who's gone, you know, who gave me some very spiritual insights about love and about surrender and realizing I'm taken care of. You realize when you do ayahuasca, you really realize you're taken care of. You really realize, hey, this whole thing in life was for me. You know, life is for you. Life, like, you're here for big reasons, man. And most people don't uncover that. Most people just stay in a realm of just confined thinking.
Yeah.
When you get into these types of experiences, you realize there really are no limits. So, you know, that's why I've been open to these experiences. You know, why not? God's safe, you know?
Yeah.
Our energy knows what's right or wrong. Your soul knows the way always.
Yeah. On that line of thinking, I totally agree with it. And what's funny is the story I told you about the voice, right? I have always in my life thought to that moment as like proof that I have a bigger reason why I'm here. You know, it's crazy. Even at 7 years old, I was like, well, the voice could have let me just poison myself, you know, but it didn't. It chose not to. Why? You know, and so I got to believe that it's for a reason, you know.
It's always for a reason. Patrick, there's nothing in your life that ever happens by accident. Nothing. Nothing in your life happened by accident. And the more you train your brain to surrender and live that and understand it, then you get yourself into a higher realm of flow and creativity and confidence.
Yeah.
To where you're like, you know what? I can't fail. You're on the other side. You cannot fail at this point. Yeah. You might as well do whatever you can dream of. You know, be as creative as you want. Try it all, because you're at the point where you can't fail, because everything in life now is embracing you. It's pushing you high. You got to realize there's invisible forces pushing you higher, pushing you here. You know, even you and Kate coming together. That's fate.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 8 billion humans in the world, and you and I are sitting here in this moment. That's fate. That's our energy aligning all of us for the higher good of, hey, we're here to help people. We're here to make a difference. We're here to experience. We're here to grow, to learn, to evolve, to get deeper, to get wiser. You know, we should have the wisdom of grandfathers now. You know, just keep depositing wisdom. And a lot of it's not through books, and it's getting around masters. It's doing what we did Sunday night.
Yeah. Was that just Sunday night?
Yeah, well, when we get together, that's what we do. We vibe. Okay. You know what I mean? We just vibe. It's not always about me and Caleb either. It could be about somebody else. It could be just that night happened to be my birthday, so I was telling a lot of stories and whatever.
There was a lot of good vibes that night. Like,
wasn't the energy amazing?
The energy was great.
Anyways, I got to go in a minute, but we can come back, dude. I'll come back anytime you want.
Anytime,
what would be like the one curiosity question that you, and then I'll ask you one.
Can you hand me that note card next to you? I wrote down some like questions that I was like, I gotta ask him this. Who's the most interesting person you've met?
Wow. I mean, Caleb Maddix, no joke. He blows my mind. I mean, really, he's the most intriguing human on earth. I still can't figure his brain out. But that would be one. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger told us, you know, if people legitimately don't think you're crazy, you really don't have a vision. You know, you're just blending in with everybody else. So, you know, being around him was very intriguing because he did a lot. If you think about all his accomplishments in different areas, ascending to be governor, you know, #1 actor, bodybuilder, like, you know, he just did a lot in life, but he also had dark failures. You know, he had an affair with his housekeeper that wasn't even close to being as attractive as his wife.
Wow.
It'd be like, you know, you having an affair on the janitor here when you got Kay right here. You know, it's like, it doesn't make sense. So that's deep. It was deep to talk to his girlfriend, his now girlfriend, who's not what you would picture to be Arnold Schwarzenegger's girlfriend. Not even close. And that whole world was so intriguing because it's not what you think you see when you really get to sit and hear the deeper conversations that, wait a minute, there is a secret there. What he said is right. He told us to break the rules. He told my 16-year-old son, Caleb said, if you could only give just one piece of advice, that's it, that this one thing will work. Sitting there smoking his cigar, he's like, with a look of intensity. I studied that. He had a new look when he talked about it. He had some fire in him. Wow. And he was like, looks right into my son's eyes and puts his cigar over here and he goes, break the rules.
Wow.
So you're like, wait a minute. Was that a secret from a master dropped into my son's world that's meant to be there? Meaning, wait a minute. All these rules that we were taught to keep, maybe we're meant to break them. And I'm not talking about laws. I'm not talking about like the law. But I'm talking about I'm breaking the rules now in my life and people won't see it for probably in a year. But what I did this last year, I broke every rule. I broke every rule of marketing, parenting, religion, to just go out and experience what it's like to live on the other side of the expectation. You know what I mean? Yeah. So seeing a man that had so much success, but yet so much failure. He had dark failures. That was a dark failure to be the governor and have an affair. And then he had a baby with her.
Wow.
This is his housekeeper, man. And to see all that, to see his kids, to see where he lived, to be in his home, to sit down with him and have real conversation. That was so intriguing to me because I caught things that I now have taught Caleb, that I've imparted. One of them was break the rules. And the other thing he said is you got to have a vision so big that people literally, his parents called the psych ward on him.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
He's like, my vision was so big, my parents called the psych ward on me. So there's secrets to those two things. Yeah. Who out there is breaking rules? Steve Jobs gave the secret too in the Apple commercial. Here's to the crazy ones. You go down that job description and really that's what we're supposed to be. We are misfits. We're rebels. We're unconventional. We think different. We push the limit. We break the limits. We create stuff that doesn't exist. We say things that need to be said. World changers are tough. They're edgy. They're pushy. They're, look at the Martin Luther Kings. Look at the people that really stood out. And just living in that realm of, that thought pattern, but not on camera, not saying the expected thing, but to give you the truth. So that's why I taught Caleb. When you get around masters, look for the truth because they'll give it to you.
That was the truth.
That was the truth, man.
Damn.
You getting water in that, Chris? Can I take one sip of this in my cup, buddy? Cool. No wonder you got Chris on your team.
Hell yeah.
He's
very
helpful.
helpful.
This guy's good.
All right. Well, dude.
But what about you? Who's the most intriguing human you've ever met so far? And who's outside of me, who's the most intriguing podcast person you've had on?
Man. That's I don't even remember writing that question down, but it came to me last night, so it must have been for a reason. That's a hard question to answer. I've met quite a few interesting people. I guess it would depend on how you define interesting. I would say one person who my life wouldn't be where it is today without meeting this person, who is definitely an interesting person, is Jason Capital.
Yeah, okay, really?
Yeah, not necessarily because of his programs and stuff, but because when I was in dental school, I asked him if, how should I manage, trying to build an online business while also being in dental school. And he told me the truth. He said, drop out. I said, drop out. Worst case, you go back in a year. Try it out for a year. Worst case, you go back. And I said, wait a second. You're right. I got into dental school once. if I really wanted to get back in, I could go back in. But for me, I just knew that I didn't want to always have that open loop of having never tried building the business that I wanted to, you know, so I did it.
So let me ask you this. You been around Jason?
Yeah.
What would be the top, what separates him from other guys? I'm curious.
Well, I haven't hung out with him.
Yeah, but you've been around him. Yeah. You know, you can see energy or whatever. Does he have the certainty he projects on camera? That energy, that certainty, or is it a show? I mean, are you a fan of him? Do you feel like after meeting him, are you more of a fan or less of a fan?
I'm more of a fan. He's definitely got a presence. He's definitely who you think he is in person. But my honest opinion, my humbly honest opinion, is I believe that he doesn't necessarily even know his own identity.
Okay.
Because the person that he is on camera is the person that you get in person. But it's almost like, because it's somewhat of a mask, I don't think anybody, even his close friends, at least the ones I've talked to, nobody really knows the real him.
Yeah,
you know?
and you know what you said, that's powerful, because as you know, we're all characters. You know, we're all our own reality TV show. You know, we're all in our own movie. You know, we're all projecting a certain image or character. But it's funny you talk about people like him, which I have respect for. But people like him have a hard time getting real because it takes them out of their character of
their brand,
badass, tough, whatever. You know what I mean? And I wonder if that's something that he feels secretly trapped.
He's very calculated. I guess if we wanted to reframe this, he's very calculated with what he presents. You know, so calculated to where you would never guess that anybody would be that calculated. You know, and I feel like I can sense it when I see it because I'm very good at feeling people, but emotionally and physically. But and
brother, we relate so much, man.
And that's just my impression, is that he's very calculated. Everything he does is for a reason, and I just wonder, I'm very impressed in how he's been able to hold that character while being that calculated with everything, you know?
Let me ask you this. Who do you want to meet, man?
Well, I wanted to meet Kobe. I always wrote down in my journal that I wanted to play one-on-one with Kobe one day.
Yeah.
Won't get that chance. MJ's probably next on that list. As you can tell by the posters.
What would you ask him?
I'd probably ask him about his experience of failure in high school. Everybody talks about the story of him not making varsity, using that as fuel. I feel like I relate to him in the sense that a lot of what I've done in my life is fueled by just the failures I've had and the hurt I've had in the past. A lot of it stemming back to basketball, kind of like with Caleb in baseball. So I would be curious to pick his brain on those moments and his thought processes in those moments,
Of what? Of the
failure, not achieving your goal, not feeling like, oh shit, I'm Michael Jordan in high school. I haven't done anything yet, but I know I'm capable, and my coach put me on the wrong team.
Feels like a failure as a basketball owner. Think about it.
Yeah, terrible.
He hasn't technically won as a basketball owner. So I wonder if in his own private psyche, does he feel like a failure?
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a good question. He probably blames Kwame Brown for his failure.
You want?
No, I'm good. I got this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we definitely got to go again. We got to freestyle 100%. And go again, man.
100%. We'll go deeper. Obviously, we didn't get to go into the child trafficking, and I know you're pretty passionate about that.
And it's just simple, right? It's like, hey, children are children.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, let's not abuse animals and let's not abuse children. It's that simple. Yeah. And let's set them free and let's let them live safe.
Yeah.
No grown man should have to go to a child for sex.
100%.
And that's it. That's that simple. It's like let's clean up. Let's clean up our world a little bit. It's not even just across. It's here in America. There's 2 million children missing.
Yeah.
It happens every single day, man. Every single minute. And It's just like that shouldn't be happening in our world. We're too blessed. We have too many resources. We have the good life. You know, how good is our life to be able to sit and do this and people all over the world to get to live? Like, we live good.
Yes.
We don't need to do this to children.
Yeah.
And that's my cause for human trafficking is to say, come on, let's all wake up and stop this. Let's all have a voice. Let's get to the real issue here.
Yeah.
The real issue has nothing to do with Biden or Trump, dude. It's just all a bunch of noise, man.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways, that's my thought. But
Yeah.
We had a blast, bro. I love you, man. This was so much fun. To everybody watching or listening, hey, Patrick's the real deal. I've met him off podcast, hanging out at my birthday parties. Great friends with my son, Caleb Maddix. And everybody that I've talked to that's gone through any of his dating coaching has absolutely raved about the results. And that's what it's about. Honestly, I can tell he truly cares and has passion for your results. And you can pick that up by talking to him and see it in his eyes. So,
or watch the documentary.
Yeah, watch that documentary. Really do. And just stay connected, guys. Take the stuff we're talking about and apply it to your life. Not everything fits. Not everything was for you. But eat the chicken, throw away the bones. Some of this stuff was spoken right from, God or the universe to you. Some of the stuff that me and Patrick talked about. So, my name is Matt Maddix. It was awesome being with you. I believe in you guys. Any of you guys want to go on a missions trip and go feed the poor with us? We got one coming up in Phoenix.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be right here in November. It's the weekend or the week of November 12, 13, 14. I'm trying to get Russell Brunson down here to do a live podcast with me. And he's already paid me $10,000 to come and bring his boys for me to take them to the streets. And I was like, you don't got to pay me for that. But he ended up giving like 10. He was like, I'll give you $10,000 to Maddix Mission. So he's just like, because it's real, So anybody watching that wants to just stay a part of something real, you're welcome to come down to Phoenix, or check us out on MaddixMissions.com because we have our 6 locations. We do one every other month.
Okay.
It's a real missions trip. It's where you you go, man. You get up early and you stay up late and we're going to heal Phoenix.
Wow.
We're going to try to, impact tens of thousands of people, homeless, veterans. We're going to rent an ice cream truck and go into the worst neighborhood in Phoenix and give away free ice cream to the kids and, cheer them up. Everybody's been locked down. Everybody's been screwed over by everything. People just need something real.
Yeah.
That's where I'm flowing, man.
I love that. Oh, yeah, man. All right.
That was a blast.
You said it the best. Peace out.
Dude,